What's up, my little pog champs? I hope everybody's feeling very Daijo Boo and Sugoi today. This is the Super Despair Show, the number 3 top-rated podcast in the state of Ohio, hosted by your favorite pathetic anime girl and funny music man. Today's episode once again takes us on a little journey across the sea to the Far East, and then back again because they've sold it back to us. Just like last time, we're talking about a little gift from our friends over in Japan. We're talking about a little niche internet thing that's become very, very not niche in the past couple years. Dave, what's your favorite VTuber?
I couldn't tell you. I don't really watch them. They are very sugoi though.
I don't know if I have a favorite one either. If I had to pick one, it would probably be Gura, just because she's one of the only ones I know, and I like her little like shark hoodie gimmick. I think it's cute.
Okay, actually, I will walk that back. I do think Code Miko, the effort is incredible. She has the whole body rig and all of the shit going on. The content, like I could take it or leave it, but the tech is great. She's doing cool things out there.
Yeah, some of those big agencies have like a massive budget to really put a lot into the production, which I don't know. If you ask me, like as someone who watched a lot of like Let's Play videos when I was younger, I was like, why do you need a ton of money just to record somebody playing video games? But I don't know, I guess that's just the world we live in now.
There is a lot that goes into these things behind the scenes. So yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on a lot of things and the medium in general, but yeah, VTubing, I mean, it could be as high effort or as low effort as you want it to be, and there's definitely benefits to being high effort, which usually means high budget as well.
Yeah, for sure. I would be lying if I said that like I watch VTuber content regularly. Sometimes, like once in a blue moon, I'll get recommended like a short little clip and I might watch that, but I've never been like, I'm not really big into live streams in general. I find it hard to just sit there and watch somebody live for a couple hours. But my most recent exposure to VTubers was Gura herself. There was this video where she was playing the new Luigi's Mansion game, and there was this like room full of sand, and she realized that she could vacuum the sand, and then she just spent
you
the
sent
next
me
20
that.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. She just did not say a single word for like 20 fucking minutes. And you know what? I gotta respect the grift. I can't hate on anybody who's made a living off of doing something that low effort. I thought it was just kind of funny.
I have seen in like I full disclosure, guys, I'm really sorry to say this. I have and probably will do in the future live streaming on Twitch. And I've definitely sat there in like a haze for way too long, just like being locked into whatever I was doing. The difference is I had a handful of viewers, but not I wasn't like top 1% of Twitch.
Well, maybe that's the real benefit of having like a cute little anime girl avatar, because even when you have like dead air and you're completely silent, people can just stare at like the vacant-eyed cute little creature in the corner and be like, haha, this is funny. I'm really getting my money's worth of the time here.
I mean, there's definitely a goon crew that is into that. So you're feeding into different fetishes at different times. You know, like you gotta spread your content all over the place.
Well, I'll say the only goon crew I care about is our own fan base. And you know what? Speaking of which, I've had this thought before. We unlike other podcasts. Well, I guess some other podcasts do it, but I think we do it in the most interesting way. We like to do a little episode art, a little illustration for each episode of the show we put out, and I've wondered, like, okay, I'm depicting both of us in these illustrations. Does that mean that we are like the podcasters, or does that not count?
So there are different levels of VTubing, and some of them, the most low effort ones, which I don't even know if you could call this VTubing. I've definitely seen some Twitch streams that are just like, cam off, audio on, doing something, and they just like jam like just a picture of their avatar in the corner. And that I never really understood. It's like, well, like you have your PFP and you have your avatar and whatever, and that could be part of your brand or whatever, but like it's not even moving. It's just jammed in the corner. I mean, I guess so in a sense, from some people's standards, yeah, we're V podcasters or whatever you want to call it.
We're the world's only V podcasters, actually.
Yeah, we can upgrade.
For better or worse.
We can upgrade later and have them like just squirm around awkwardly. I guess that's a PNG tuber. I guess they call that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if I was to speculate on why people do that, obviously, like, it's a good branding thing. Like, if you're doing content where you just play video games for an audience of people, maybe someone will, like, take a clip of your channel or something, and it's good to have, like, a little... It's not quite a watermark, but it's good to have something in the corner that says, like, hey, I made this. It's not just generic footage of somebody playing Call of Duty.
That is true. That is a good point. I can totally understand that. I have seen ones though where it's like taking up like a quarter of the screen, and it's like, dude, this doesn't even move. Like you just
that's a little too big.
It's too big. It's too big. I want to see the health meter in the corner, and your avatar is blocking it. So maybe move that.
There should be like a task force in charge of like handing out infractions for people with bad stream layouts.
Oh my God. You would have to have so much funding for that because I don't know. I also think it's kind of silly for somebody who's just starting streaming to like really go out on the OBS layout, but at the same time, I've seen some absolute dog shit on there, and it's just like, dude, you would be so much better with like none of that, just none of it.
For sure. I mean, putting aside all the content brain, the marketing, the advertising, the branding, all that stuff, I hate that shit. I don't like to think about it. But if I was to speculate,
like and subscribe, by the way.
Yeah, leave a comment if you hate that stuff too.
Yeah, share it with your grandma.
Exactly. If I was to speculate, I think people definitely like, we've made jokes before about how every podcast is basically like a friendship simulator, you know?
Yeah.
So I think maybe having just like a face you can stare at in the corner, even if it's like a completely inanimate, like poorly drawn MS Paint face, I think something about that really speaks to people. I feel like there's something in our like primitive monkey brain that like sees an approximation of a face, and we're like, oh, it's like I'm really in the room with them right now with my best friend playing video games.
No. That's totally true. And I've definitely seen some streamers before that are, mostly, if not always, cam off. And they will, like, some of them just, like, it's kind of a meme. It's kind of funny. Like, they just have some, like, stupid icon in the corner, and it might, like, move around or do some stuff. But I think that's cooler than just like, you can kind of tell when it's somebody just like, here's my avatar, just I set it up in the corner just to be silly, and somebody who's like, yeah, I really want to be like a high budget VTuber, but I have no money, so here's like some stupid bullshit instead.
Definitely. But I think we're still kind of going in circles a little bit. We haven't exactly worked out, like, what is a VTuber specifically? Because there's, like, kind of a history to it, and I think it's really popped off in, like, the last couple of years especially. So
I am not really up on the VTuber lore. As far as I know, it's an avatar, usually anime related. And it represents whoever's streaming or broadcasting, and to varying degrees, it will move and speak and be animated as if the person broadcasting, who is, by the way, guys, I don't want to blow this up for you. I don't want to ruin your good time here, but it's there's an actual human being behind that. It's not actually an anime character. but it's it's an avatar, right? That like the
yeah, you heard it here first, folks. VTubers are people, confirmed.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Although if we think about, okay, so to my knowledge, I'm not super well read on the history of VTubers or whatever. I know that the first one was this lady. Her channel is called Kizuna Ai. You might have seen her. She's like an anime girl with like brown hair, but I think there's like a bit of pink to it. If you've ever seen the popular smug emoji, probably on Discord or Twitch or something, I'm pretty sure that's her.
Oh, I'm looking it up right now.
Kizuna Ai.
Yeah, very
K-I-Z.
Yeah, looks like a pretty generic anime girl. Looks pretty young, guys.
Yeah, I was browsing this wiki of VTubers before we started, just to like do a bit of quick reading, and the age section for most of them is just left blank, like inconspicuously blank, and I'm okay.
9,000. 9,000. She's a demon girl.
You joke, but I have the wiki page, or the VTuber wiki page for Gura open, and it says her age is between 9,000 and 10,000 years old, and she stopped counting 5,000 years ago.
It's fine. Gooners, a sigh of relief just came upon the whole Goon Squad. It's okay. All right, never mind. False alarm, guys. False alarm.
But yeah, so it seems like Kizuna was like the first one. She made it like really popular, and I guess I don't know. I don't have an exact year for that. But then we had all these like really, really big companies that these talent agencies, which were kind of modeled off of the idol culture in like Japan and Korea and stuff. And they tried to like make it a thing, and I guess they succeeded because it's a very big thing. You've got these companies like HoloLive and Nijisanji and VShojo, and I'd be lying if I said I knew any more. But yeah, there's contrary to what we just said about VTubers being real people earlier, these companies that fund them would like you to like not think about that, because there's this whole culture that we see, like it's stemmed out of the idol culture in Japan, where it's like, no, this person must stay completely anonymous. We have to like very carefully cultivate their image to their fans. It's very weird to me as an outsider.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's an interesting point, that it's a microcosm of idol culture in Japan and Korea, with and probably China too. I don't really know a lot about China. Anybody?
I know that HoloLive it started in Japan, I'm pretty sure, and they've branched out to like Indonesia and China and like overseas, like with some of their English VTubers.
Yeah. What I do know for sure is the idol culture in Korea is I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I may be, or this might not still be true, but it was definitely true before. It was a bigger market in like Southeast Asia and the surrounding Asian countries than it was in Korea itself. So there's a lot of exporting going on, but like, yeah, it is, as far as not talent agencies. What's the word for it?
I think they are literally called talent agencies.
Oh, okay.
For the
VTubers.
Well,
like, yeah, whatever they're called. There is a very dark history which we can possibly get into in a different episode. But
we definitely want to give the topic of idol culture and J-pop and K-pop and all that stuff its own spotlight time. This is kind of related to it, because it seems like VTubers, at least the big corporate sponsored ones, they do follow that same business model, and there are some similarities in how their talent is treated. But yeah, we'll focus on the virtual anime girls.
Yeah. But like the common thread you can have between those two is they completely dehumanize actual people and turn them into commodities to sell shit. That's really basically all it is.
Yeah, that's kind of the fucked up thing about working for these big like corporate VTuber studios. It's you definitely get like a bit of a benefit because like they will give you a shit ton of funding. They will cover all of the technology. They will put some marketing into it, so you will just like immediately blow up and have a big audience of people ready to tune in. And like for somebody who wants to make a living as a streamer, I can definitely see the appeal of that. Like there's some level of stability in a job that's otherwise like completely like off the fucking rails, not secure at all.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely see the appeal in that. That sounds really nice. But the problem is, the problem is twofold. Number one, if you are unsuccessful for whatever reason, and it could be no fault of your own, they will
get disappeared.
Drop your ass like a fucking brick. And then, on the other hand, if you are successful, they will do everything in their power to keep you successful, which means no boyfriend, no girlfriend, no life. You just do whatever the fuck you're told for as long as they have your contract and they own you. And I'm just going to speculate here. The contracts probably aren't really favoring the artists here or the personalities. They're probably favoring the corporation. I'm just going out on a limb here. I have no confirmation for that. Actually, I kind of do. Yeah, there's
you're telling me that VTuber idols aren't unionized?
That's the point of this episode, is unionize all VTuber models now. Let's go.
That would be pretty based. Not gonna
that would
lie.
actually be fucking awesome.
I would definitely soften up most of my opinions on VTubers if they were to do that. Critical support for the VTubers.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that does bring us to an interesting contrast between like the typical idol industry and VTubers, right? Because like you said, there's the whole thing about you can't have a boyfriend, you can't have a life, you can't be caught like smoking or drinking or like cursing or like doing anything that affects the brand like that. And with like a regular, like say a J-pop star or something, like that's pretty stifling, because when they get up on that stage, you are seeing a real person, and they are probably using their real voice and whatever, and for a moment, like, you know, you can see that person. Whereas with VTubers, there's this level of anonymity, right, which can be nice, because like I imagine they can turn off the camera, and once they're done recording for the day, you know, they can fuck off and do theoretically whatever they want. But the consequence of that is, like, if you work for one of these big VTuber agencies, they completely own you in a way that they don't if like people have seen you as a real person, right? Because like I have no idea who the fuck Gura is, or like Korone, or like Kizuna. I don't know what they look like in real life. I don't know their real names. Like they're just anime girls on the screen to me. So like if the company decides like, okay, we're done with you, have a nice life, you know, you're gone. Like you can't take your experience from that career and like build something else off of it.
Sure.
You just go back.
And they could probably keep that character going with like, you know, a good substitute that has a similar voice to you. Just kind of like how the music industry killed Avril Lavigne and made like a substitute Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, we miss you, Avril. I was the example I thought where you were gonna go with this was where they recently replaced Justin Roiland on Rick and Morty with somebody who sounds just as good, if not better. I've heard so many people say, "Oh, hey, the show's actually watchable now," which is really funny to me.
That is funny. So they got the same talent, they got the same voice, and that person's probably not DMing 13-year-olds.
Yeah, I mean, in the case of Rick and Morty, the thing is, like, Justin Roiland's voice was so like memorable. It was like a Borat thing where like everybody across the country can say like, "My
yeah, exactly,
very nice."
Exactly.
You know, everybody has like a Rick and Morty.
So people had
impression,
several
like,
seasons worth of practice to replace him once he started wiling out in Discord DMs.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he was like, I won't say he's a victim of his own success, because he's a victim of the law from like doing fucked up shit with little kids.
Fair.
But it definitely came back to bite him in the ass that his voice was so popular that yeah, he was easily replaced. Which I wonder like I haven't looked into any like controversies regarding VTubers. Do you think that's happened at some point? Like they just replaced one with a different person instead of like retiring them.
I mean, it must have, but like, do we know about it? Like, do like VTuber stans even care, or is it just like my anime princess is still here being kawaii, so I don't give a shit whose fucking voice it was.
Yeah, it's hard to say because like I have seen a few clips of VTubers, and even though they are like an anonymous anime girl, they do talk about their life off screen to like a limited degree, right? Mm-hmm. So I imagine longtime viewers would be like, oh, something seems different. Oh, you didn't mention that before. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, we need more VTuber specialists on to tell us the facts on that one.
Yeah, that or our fan base could fund what is it, like a couple $100 to get our own VTuber rig. I think that would be fun.
I think it's more than that. I think it's more than that. Like
I've seen some like indie creators sell like rigs and stuff for like a couple $100, but I know the more expensive ones go to like somewhere in like the 4-digit range. You know what I mean?
Interesting. I think it's just how much you're doing with it.
Yeah, there's also a difference between like if you're doing like a full body rig thing where it's totally 3D versus like a lot of them are like, I think they call them live 2D or like 2.5D or something like that, where it's like it's a JPEG but it bounces up and down and it's got like the big titties and whatever, and it's very it's very animated. Like there's a bunch of layers to it.
Yeah, and that's why. So I brought up Code Miko before, and it was like, but like I think, and I don't think she is part of any. I think she's independent. I don't know for sure. And she's definitely been interviewed like in person before. But she has a whole full body like mocap rig, and I think she like programs the I think it's Unreal Engine or something like that, like the whole thing herself. So it was probably a passion project that eventually blew up, and she had the finances, the capital to like really make it a whole thing, and that's cool. A lot of people don't have the technical knowledge or the access to that type of stuff, but like I have no hate for people like that, but again like for me that's more love of the tech than love of the content. And I've seen a few of her just streams or clips or whatever, and it's like it's fairly entertaining, but at the same time, just like you said, despite having been a streamer for several years, I don't really watch a lot of streams, to be honest.
Yeah, even now, since we started recording our own podcast, I find myself listening to other podcasts less because, like, I kind of want to keep it fresh. I don't want to be influenced too much by, like, consuming a lot of the same kind of content that I create, if that makes sense.
No, it totally does. And the weird thing is, as I became more entrenched in like being a musician when I was like making a lot of music, and I still kind of do, but I was in some bands and playing out and stuff. I found myself listening to other music less, like on my own accord, because like it kind of it wasn't about staying fresh, or maybe it was in my mind, but really it was just like more like it kind of became like less of an enjoyment thing that I did on my own, and more of like okay, we have to analyze music now. Okay, let's do this. And I've seen this with like other people. Like I went to a college with like a very big film program, and I knew like a lot of people like couldn't watch movies for fun anymore. They were just, anytime they watched a movie, they were just like, oh, that shot was like, that was a really good shot. What do you think? How do you think they did that? Did they have like a dolly or something like that? And it's just like, dude, your brain gets poisoned in a creative career sometimes by just like over analyzing everything. And it's like, you got into this because you fucking loved the craft. And then after a while, it's just like you can't turn it off as far as like creator mode and go back to like enjoyer mode.
Yeah, definitely. I relate to that a lot. And, I can't speak to any experience with VTubing myself. I've never done it. I don't know what it looks like behind the scenes with one of these like big corporate VTubers or whatever. But I feel like, I don't know. I have a love of like the technical side of being creative. I like looking into tools. I like buying supplies. I like all that stuff. And I feel like this is just my speculation, how I feel deep down. But like, if you work for one of these big companies, like how much of that do you like really have control over? Because the answer in my head is like probably not much.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's like, obviously you're gonna work with like OBS or something because like you are directly in control of that during the stream. But it's like a lot of like, do a lot of them even have any say in what their VTuber avatar looks like at all? I don't know.
I don't know either. There's a lot of questions about this, which, from a, and I think that's the interesting point. You could say like, hey, maybe we should have looked into this more, but like, I think it's actually an interesting point that like, as tangential, knowers of and experiencers of this content, we know nothing about this medium at all. So it remains very enigmatic in that way. And maybe that's intentional.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like we've definitely, like, so far we've talked a lot about the corporate side of VTubing, the big funded talent agencies and all that. But I think let's shift gears a little bit and think about, like, okay, there's a lot of people who get into it as, like, independent VTubers as well, who have, like, no funding and they don't have those sort of restrictions on what they can say and how they can act. So, like, what's the appeal for that? Because if you were to ask me, I'd say, like, oh, okay, you can be anonymous. You can have like a face that your audience can like relate to, without like having to like get dressed up or turn your camera on or like clean up your goon cave or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's the main appeal. Is they got the goon cave is covered in a lot of really sus shit, so they just
that would be really funny. Just imagine like tuning into like an indie VTuber, and as soon as they turn on their mic, they just like shift a little bit, and you hear like a ton of like tin cans fall over. And
just the cum jars are broken immediately, or they accidentally turn on their camera, and it's like a 48-year-old dude, like just with a really good child anime girl voice, but that's
God, that's been a personal nightmare of mine. Like, obviously I am not a 48-year-old dude, but I've always thought about the tech side of things. Like, okay, what if I did have a VTuber avatar? What if I like hit the wrong button and for like a split second everybody sees the face behind the Wizard of Oz or whatever?
Yeah, well, that's a thing. And then like even if like even if you're not some like balding old man or just like whatever, some ghoulish freak, no hate to my balding old man and ghoulish freaks out there. I'm with you.
What if, hear me out, what if you're like a perfectly normal looking adult woman who just didn't feel like putting on makeup that day, and you don't want people to say, oh, you look really tired, what's up?
Right, but if you have any sort of audience, they're like clipping that and screenshotting that immediately. It's over for you. One like misclick, one wrong OBS scene, and it's over.
Yeah, that's not a problem we have to worry about. We don't have any audience. We could say whatever we want right now. Nobody would be any the wiser.
Exactly.
What's your favorite slur? Whoa, okay.
Vanilla Gorilla.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a pretty good one. I can't say any of my favorite ones, but they're all trans related.
Okay. All right. I think it's still couth to say slurs about white people. We've had our time in the sun. I'm just kidding. I'm not white, guys. I'm POC. I'm Italian.
I mean, I'm blue, but I used to be like, oh, okay, I'm blue, so people can't make those jokes about me. But then some of my friends started calling me a Smurf, and I want to kill them all. It drives me nuts. Don't do that in the comments. I will end your life.
you know you're just inviting that when you say something like that, right?
Yeah, I know. There's a worse one they brought up about blue people, but I'm not gonna say that on air. I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay, gotcha. All right. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing about if you're an independent VTuber, like the anonymity is a big part of it. I can see, like, I have some friends even who are into VTubing, and like they're very queer, they're trans people. Not all of them are like necessarily happy with where they are at in their transition or something. Right. But you know, they wanna put themselves out there. They want to make some content. Oh god, I said content very earnestly there. I'm already sinking, but
yeah, you're a part of it now.
I've got marketing brain. Everything, but you know, they want to put themselves they want to put themselves out there. They want to make stuff for other people. They want to relate to their audience, and like I don't see a big harm in that.
No, I totally get that, and I was actually talking to a good friend of mine, Frankie. What up? And we had this conversation about like VTubers and PNG tubers, and I was kind of like, if you don't want to show your face, just be cam off. Like, people have been doing that streaming since like the fucking Justin TV days and the Africa.TV days. Like just it's like that's kind of what like live streaming I think, as far as like gaming and shit like that started out as. But then they were famous before they started Let's Playing, but some of the biggest Let's Players, the Game Grumps, for years, I think to this day, they don't do and like the Oni Plays guys and shit like that, and they're fucking funny, and they have a huge audience and shit like that. They don't like their faces are, you could search it on Google and shit, but they don't.
I'm sure some of them have appeared on camera before.
Yeah. You can find what they look like if you really care, but they don't. It's not a part of their brand or whatever. It's just like, they just have the game, and then they're talking and whatever. But my friend said, he was like, well, like there was somebody I knew, or somebody he was watching, who was like disabled, like very, very much so. And that was this person's way of like, kind of having a, like an avatar that could, kind of exist. Not to say, I don't really know how to say this without sounding like an ass. Like normally, like, kind of just a, an able-bodied
in a way that does not bring attention to their disability.
Right. Okay, yes, that is a good way to say it.
Like maybe you just want to turn on the stream and have people like not draw their attention to that aspect of yourself.
Exactly. And to that, I was like, totally understandable. Because that's the thing about people with, not that I know, but like what I would imagine if you have, a very debilitating disability like that. You don't, like, you try not to, you live with it, but you don't want to make it like this is all of you and this is like all of your personality and just everybody's, especially if you're, if you're broadcasting or something like that, to people who don't know you. Even if you take care to not, even if you take care to not like bring it up yourself, like, somebody in the audience is going to ask about it every single stream, and sometimes you just don't want to deal with it. And especially dealing with new people, like it's going to be a fixation. Like, with your friends and family, like they know, they don't give a shit, they're over it. But like with new people, it's just going to be like, why? What's going on? I mean, like you've seen that before. Like you see content creators with, disabilities and shit, and you're like, oh, this person's fucking cool, and they're funny, they're interesting, whatever. And it's just like, and you look them up, and it's just like, what does that person have? And I think a lot of them are very upfront with this, which I appreciate. But it's also like that shouldn't be your entire being and like what defines you, you know?
Definitely. So I think it can definitely be like a lot harder to succeed as like an independent VTuber because, like I said, you don't have any of the funding. You're starting from ground zero. Just like is the ground zero the right term? No, probably not. But you're starting from the bottom. You're starting from the bottom, like the rest of us, and I guess that can be like a really unfulfilling thing. Like you've been on Twitch before, and I think I've read there was some statistic like if your stream averages like 10 or more viewers or something like that, you are like in the top 1% of most viewed people on Twitch.
My streams would range probably between like 7 and 15 viewers at any one time, and I looked up the stats, and I was in like the top like 2 point something % of Twitch. So that's like and like I'm not gonna lie, I made some revenue, but like not even close to what would be a livable wage for anybody, let alone minimum wage. So I actually looked up a statistic before we started recording, and I think like the top 0.1% of Twitch streamers make minimum wage. That's like the cutoff. So
God damn.
Yeah. if you're thinking about a Twitch career, maybe think more about a Twitch hobby.
Yeah, it's rough out there. There's a lot of competition, but some people get into this stuff to make money, and other people get into it for the love of the game.
Sure, yeah.
And then there's people like us who are here to do both. Mm-hmm. I love the game, and I love the game more when I'm making money. So like and subscribe.
No, for sure. And I don't want to say that as like, hey, if you want to like stream and shit like that, you can't ever make that a thing. But like,
we don't want to discourage.
No. And I definitely don't. And I wouldn't. And I'm gonna go back to streaming. But like, you don't want to go if you're going in there with the mindset of like, I want this to be my job. You are setting yourself up to fail. Do it with the mindset of, I want to do this because I think it's cool and I think people might like, and then go from there. But if you're thinking about money, you're on the finish line and you haven't even gotten off the starting blocks. So if that's your mindset, either change your mindset or go do something else, because it's way easier to just get a normal job if all you're thinking about is money.
For sure. Let's actually talk about that for a little bit. Let's talk money. For some background, here's our total expenses for this show that you're listening to right now. So far, we have made negative $10. I think the $10 came from Dave. You bought the domain name, which we haven't made a website for.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. I think it was less than $10. So I think it was like it was $8.88.
It was probably $10 to me because I live up here in Canada. So our money, our goofy little Canadian
10 communist dollars, but freedom dollars 8.88.
Yeah. Okay. Well, those are our earnings from this show so far. Negative 8 point whatever you said dollars.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people have this tendency to, and you and I talked a little bit about this before we started recording, where a lot of people like to spend a lot of money up front to get all the tools and equipment to start like some creative endeavor, and it feels like you're being productive, and then they just don't start. Or they do start and they don't need that shit. And I think VTubing is so fucking expensive with the rigs and the technology and the hardware. And you gotta have like a good streaming PC, which in itself is already a big investment up front. You need a lot of money to be even like a shit ass VTuber.
Right.
So like,
I think you see that with a lot of creative career paths or creative endeavors in general. Is people just say, man, if only I had this computer, if only I had this, I just need a new guitar. That's what I need to start popping. I just need these courses. I just need the sample pack. I just need these brushes. I just need blah, blah, blah.
I have a little story to tell about this, and it goes back about about 15 years ago, when I was a teenager in high school, and for some background, my family was much more well off at the time than we are now. Now I'm just like barely scraping by. But at the time,
guys. By the way, Briar's poor, so like and subscribe.
I'm poor as fuck. That's why I started a podcast.
I'm poor too. Give me money.
But I'm like the cool kind of poor, so you don't have to feel sorry.
Struggling artists. We live in loft apartments, and we just we listen to a lot of indie rock. But we're gonna make it someday.
Yeah, we're all gonna make it. But back to rewind about 15 years. When I was a teenager, my family had a lot more money at the time, so. One thing that I really wanted was I wanted my first drawing tablet, and I got this like shitty little like Wacom bamboo phone, which is like it's like a $50-$60 tablet. At least it was in like 2008 or something like that. And I was like, okay, this is fun. I'm having a bit of fun with it. But I think about a year after I got that, I was like, no, I want the Wacom Cintiq, the big fucking like
the big
computer monitor.
Yes.
Yeah, the professional model. And for those who know, I think they range from anywhere to like from like $1,500 to like $3,000 something now. I haven't looked it up in many years, but the model that was like current at the time when I was a teenager was I'm not going to remember the model number, but it was somewhere in like the $1,500-$1,600 range, something like that. And my parents got me this big fucking Cintiq, and I doodled maybe like a little bit on it, but like within a week after I set it up, I had this issue where like it wasn't totally calibrated. Like the cursor was like a few pixels off from the tip of the stylus.
Yeah, that would drive me crazy.
I was like, it did drive me crazy. So crazy that I just kind of gave up, and it just kind of sat there collecting dust for many years. And like I didn't actually really get serious about art until like maybe about a year before we started this podcast, probably less. So that's a bit of a personal lesson. You don't need the big expensive tools. You need the will to just make shit in spite of your circumstances.
You need the right tools. And I will say from a musical perspective, I have owned like over $1,000 guitars that I was just like they sounded good, but I didn't like playing them. And I've also owned guitars that were like $190 that just I would pick that thing up anytime I saw it because it was just so nice and fun to play. And it's just like you like money. There's a certain amount there. I wouldn't recommend if you want to get into playing guitar or something like that. Don't buy a $50 guitar unless it's an estate sale and they don't know what they have or something like that. But pick some stuff up, see what kind of feels nice to you, and go from there, because like there's so much snobbery around gear. This goes with art, this goes with music, this goes with technology, just all sorts of things. Like really it's more about just doing stuff that works for you rather than just you need this to be any type of person in this field. That's generally not the case. As a quick aside, this is totally tangential, but have you ever read Mouse, the graphic novel?
No, we had a bunch of Mouse books like at my high school.
You know what I'm talking about, though,
when I was a student. Yeah, it's like the comic. It's like a World War II.
Yeah. It's about the dude's dad, and he was in the Holocaust and shit like that. That dude drew that shit with fucking printer paper and a ballpoint pen, and it's one of the most iconic graphic novels in history. So just saying. Yeah,
for sure. I've seen a lot of discourse around this because when I'm on, like, let's say Twitter, 90% of the people I follow on there are just other artists. I don't like to go on there for like the stupid discourse or the news or anything. I go on there because I like to see pretty pictures that people made. And there's obviously been a lot of chat about like, oh, AI art is like the new big thing because it's tearing down these barriers to entry. And like the popular response is like, no, shut the fuck up. Just go buy some printer paper and a pencil. That's literally all you need.
It really is. It really is.
Now, for me, that That wasn't necessarily the case. I mean, when I was in high school, I did draw pretty actively. I had this like $30 sketchbook because it was like slightly nicer quality paper, and these cheap shitty like mechanical pencils from Staples. It's like $2 for like a dozen of them or some shit like that. And I did like drawing a lot like that. Although as I've gotten older, I don't really like traditional art as much. I can't tell people like, oh, you should get the cheapest option, because for me, about a year or two ago, I bought my first iPad, and that's been the big catalyst for me getting back into art, because I really like the ease of use. Like, oh, it's a digital thing, and oh, it's not attached to my computer, so I can just take it anywhere. So for me, that was the right tool. So I don't want to necessarily say, oh, you should never spend money ever, but just don't ever tell yourself like, I can't start this thing because I don't have enough money, or like, I need to buy this expensive fancy equipment to get started. Like, maybe it'll help, but in all honesty, if you don't have the drive to just like make your own creative vision happen, then no like amount of tools are gonna like help you get to that starting point.
100%. That's really the takeaway here, is there is a happy medium, and it might be on some sort of the middle spectrum between being a gearhead who doesn't do shit as far as, you know, furthering their craft, and you know, just being somebody who like, you also can't just like cheap out and just be like, I can't do this because I'm not a professional artist or a musician. It's like, it's okay to spend a little bit of money, but at the same time, you have to know that you cannot buy your way into success in any of your creative endeavors. And I think that ties back to what we were saying about streaming, because I've definitely seen people who think you can just spend money on fucking bullshit, on fucking emotes and overlays and gear and microphones and computers and all this type of shit, and it's gonna bring you to the next level. And it might help that if you're at that level, but if you're just like starting out and you think you need like 10 grand worth of gear, maybe slow down a little bit. But at the same time, I have seen like very high viewer count, you know, somewhat successful streamers where they're streaming in like fucking 480p, in the background is like their fucking unmade bed with cum socks on it and shit. And some of
the most successful high earning podcasts on Patreon, which I will not name by name, have just had like just dog shit audio where they're just like speaking into like a fucking Xbox like gamer
and
headset.
That shit boggles my mind too. It's like people who are, you know, I'm not going to say household names, but household names in certain circles of, you know, people who listen to podcasts, which, you know, just insane people. But, and it's just like, dude, you still didn't learn how to mix audio or like speak into a microphone correctly. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Get it together.
Yeah, not to toot our own horn too much, but you know, I think we can boast about this. Like, for our size, we definitely have better audio quality than some very big high budget shows.
I mean, absolutely. But like, besides just being like lazy, I think it's kind of disrespectful to your audience in the same way. And it's just like, these people are paying like tons of money to listen to your shit, and you can't afford like a better microphone or like an editor that knows how to like normalize or like match loudness or anything like that. Jesus fucking Christ, we're doing that. And we have no income.
We're $8 in the hole.
We're $8 in the hole, and we're still getting it done. Come on, baby. Come on. Get it together, guys.
Yeah, that's kind of the inverse of it, whereas like, yes, you don't need good equipment to be successful, and in fact, some very successful people have dog shit equipment. So I guess that the lesson people should take away from that is the only path to being successful is be fucking interesting. Like, be a real person. Be somebody people want to listen to. Never once have I tuned into a podcast and been like, wow, they have such a cool set in their garage with these like neon lights and a big sign that says the show name. I'm gonna subscribe. These dudes are so fucking cool. No, like, I'll listen for a bit. If they sound interesting, maybe I'll give it a listen again. But most of the time they don't, because you know what? Most podcasts are fucking boring as shit.
And on the flip side of that, I've definitely listened to podcasts before where I was like, this sounds interesting, and then it was somebody on like garbled Zoom audio, and I was just, I can't listen to this. I just, you guys, you just come on, like.
Or like they have like 7 different co-hosts and like 3 of them are talking into the little Xbox Live.
And there's like a 3-second delay before any of them say anything because they're in, I don't know where the fuck they are. Like, what are you out in the country? Like, you in Alaska? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, definitely. So that's the money side of things, but so I think we've mostly covered our bases with the people who get into VTubing on the content creator side. But let's talk a little bit about the audience, because like as we've seen, there's a big fucking audience for this stuff, and like I don't claim to get it. Like, I can speculate, but I don't really watch any VTubers. I don't watch live streamers in general, but live streaming has been like a thing for like the last 10 years or something. When was like Justin TV started? You probably know that.
I'm not sure. I do remember when I first started teaching in Korea, so that was probably like 10 years ago. There was I had a lot of students, and they were like, "Oh, teacher, do you know Africa.tv?" Which I think was like a tangential thing to Justin TV. These Justin TV, I know, was like, that's what turned into Twitch. And then Twitch was bought by Amazon. That was like I don't know if Africa.tv, I don't know if that was an Asian thing. I don't know if it was.
I've never heard of it for one.
It might have been a short-lived thing. But these were kids that, like, you know, they watched like League of Legends content all the time. So it was probably just like gaming bullshit. It was probably fucking Kick back then, just like a. I'm sorry, Africa.tv heads, please come and mold and correct me in the comments. I'm very sorry to fuck your childhood up.
I graduated high school in 2011, and at the time I don't really remember like live streaming being a really popular thing. Like, there was some like gaming YouTubers, and like there was like the esports scene. I know, like, what was it called? StarCraft. That was really big. Yeah, it might still be big. I don't know if people still play that. Probably.
I think
so much
I think it is, but I think League has like taken that over in the Korean scene, at least. And obviously,
without a doubt.
And there's definitely like other esports that are going on now, but yeah.
Yeah, at the start of the 2010s, I feel like that was kind of when like real-time strategy was like on the downturn and was kind of starting to get replaced by MOBAs, which I never got into. They seem like a very stressful game to enjoy. Yeah. It's not for me. But
I am gonna say, so the funny thing is, when I lived there, you know, I had a bunch of kids and adults, and they were like, "Oh, League of Legends," and I was like, fuck that shit. I will never fucking play that game. Fuck you. Leave me alone. That's the correct response. Yeah, don't talk to me about League of Legends. And then when I moved back to the States, somebody was like, "Hey, like, it's not bad. Like, try it out." And I did play for a while. My issue with it, I don't think it's like necessarily a bad game, but like, the thing is, if you ever want to get like good to the point of like ever having fun, which I don't think anybody ever has fun playing that game, but you have
as an outsider, it does not seem that way.
Yeah,
to me.
you well, that's the thing, and that's kind of like competitive RTS shit too. Is like you have to like read all these like strategy manuals and like know what every character or every unit or anything does and like their damage levels and shit. And it's like, dude, I don't got time for that, man. Like
there's a measurement. It's like actions per minute or something.
Yeah.
You can't take like 50 different things.
Yeah, and
in
then
a
you
single
go into the
minute.
practice
You're gonna
tool
fall
and you're
behind.
just like min maxing like fucking just actions in it. Like, no, dude, I can't do that. Like, my whole life is a fucking grind, man. I can't grind in a video game. I'm trying to have fun. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so the reason I wanted to shift gears to live streaming in general is because I think we got to look at like why is VTubing popular? And I don't think it's just the anonymity, right? I think live streaming in general has kind of kicked off like the last couple years. Like maybe we could go back like 10 years or something, but definitely around the start of COVID, I feel like the world has become a very lonely place, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Last episode, we talked a little bit about this like loneliness epidemic that we see in Japan. And, you know, we're seeing it in other places too, but Japan is a good case study for this. And I think this kind of relates back to the whole anime thing where, yeah, people might like to do the whole friendship simulator thing where it's like you're really in the room with your best friend playing a video game together or something. But a lot of people don't really want to hang out with a best friend. They kind of want to hang out with like a cute little anime girl who's just like a perfect bundle of sunshine. And like we say VTubers are real people because they are, but like they're not paid to act like real people.
Yeah,
if you know
sure.
what I mean.
And just like, but like also a lot of people don't want to hang out with a best friend because that's work. Like relationships take work. You have to do something. Whereas what is way more easy and convenient and the fast food version of having a friend? Well, you just pop on some person and you pay $5 for a subscription and they like say your name once and then you could like put it on in the background while you do whatever you goon or whatever you're doing over there. So it's parasocialism, but it's like a weird version of it's just laziness and like I mean, I'm sounding kind of boomer right now.
Well, it's a relationship that you don't need to invest in.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, exactly.
About real relationships is you gotta check in on your friends. You gotta be there for each other. Like, everybody has probably had some friend at some point in their life, maybe even right now, who's like, oh, they're just a constant drain. They're always in the pits. They always need help. They might need money. They're always just like really depressed. They're always on the verge of falling apart, and like they give nothing back, you know?
Yeah.
And that can be really emotionally draining. But like the opposite of that is like watching a VTuber where they're always happy, they're always bouncing around, they're always providing a little show just for you. If you give them some money, maybe they'll say your name or like say something else, or you know, it's like it can feel good. It can feel like instantly gratifying and rewarding, but it's not real.
Yeah.
It's very parasocial.
And I don't think that's even necessarily exclusive to VTubers, although it's definitely more from my experience, more like just more amplified with VTubers, because generally it is like a kawaii anime girl who's just so bubbly and like, haha, here we are, and we're playing games. Whereas, you know, sometimes like human live streamers can just, you know, have a bad day, or they're just terminally fucking miserable to people. Like you can see that with certain popular live streamers who are just seem like the fucking shittiest person you'll ever meet, yet they still have a massive audience.
Don't get me wrong. The most popular people on twitch.tv.com, I don't even know. The most popular people on Twitch, they're just a fucking like cabal of the most like insane, miserable people I've ever seen in my life. I want nothing to do with any of them.
That's a funny thing too, is they clearly have an immense amount of contempt for their audience. And I think it's because their audience fucking sucks. Because I'm gonna come out and say it. People who use Twitch all the time are fucking insane. Like, they're deranged. And I'm not talking about people who go on Twitch and, like, you know, watch a stream. I'm talking about, like, Twitch people, like Twitch viewers, people who are like, I love Twitch, just like somebody would say I love TV or I love YouTube or something.
We need
like
a word. We need a word like gooner, but for people who consume too many live streams.
Yeah. Exactly. Like people who are subbed to like the top 20 like Twitch streams. Just
I mean, isn't it kind of a pejorative if you call somebody a tier 4 sub? I mean, like that's inherently kind of shameful, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say so. Especially because most of the time you're not getting shit for that other than whatever. Anyways, you spend your money how you want, or you're probably more accurately like your parents' money. But it's crazy because like there's this weird relationship where they fucking hate their audience. They feel an immense amount of contempt for them, but they need them at the same time. They need them to, pay for their McMansion in LA or Texas or wherever the fuck these weirdos live now. And that's the thing is like, I can tell that the viewers of this content have like no actual real human interpersonal experience before, because how can you not watch these people and see that they are fucking dead inside? Like, you look at their eyes and they are fucking dead inside. Like, these people are miserable.
Are you talking about live streamers in general, or like the cute anime girls?
I'm talking about live streamers in general. So that's an interesting point, is you can't see the dead eyes of the cute anime.
Well, I will say some of them look very uncanny to me. Like, I remember when a couple years back when VTubing was more of a new thing, my immediate fucking primitive monkey brain response was like, I don't like that. That's not how an anime girl should look. That's weird. I don't like it. It's off-putting to me. But now it just seems kind of normal because like everybody's a fucking VTuber.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we've gotten used to it, but like live streaming in general is kind of weird. But I mean, I guess it's not that weird in the sense. Well, I was gonna say like, there's been live broadcasts since the fucking 50s, but they were like planned and scripted. It wasn't just somebody sitting at their computer for 11 hours just like screeching.
I would go as far as to say that the weirdness is why it's popular.
Yeah, maybe.
Like we used to see like there was a period on YouTube where everybody was into like let's play videos. Let's all do let's play videos where we play video games, where we do like a recorded session of playing some Donkey Kong or some shit, and we'll put it up there and our audience can like respond in the comments or something. Just like our own audience can respond to this video in the comments. But The thing about like live streaming kind of took off because there's that parasocial element where it's like, oh, you can type something in chat and get an immediate response. You can see like a consequence of your actions play out on the screen. And a lot of live streamers have been like very weird with that. Like maybe they have a very like combative relationship with their audience, or like there's like a bit of a like kind of some ribbing going back and forth. But I think with most VTubers, it's a lot more positive, at least from my perspective as an outsider. Like they have to focus on being like happy and bubbly and like maybe telling some silly stories or something, but like nobody tunes in to see like a sad, miserable, angry VTuber. I don't feel like.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
No, that I mean that sounds right. And there's definitely some like some e-girls that play into that too, I would think, and there's definitely some e-boys that play into that too, and like, but it's I guess with the real people as opposed to the VTubers, it probably seems more transparent when somebody's being like, thanks for the sub, person, username, haha, awesome. and when it's like their dream chibi anime girl like doing a kawaii laugh and going off on that tangent. It's like
you can kind of take yourself out of it, because it's like, oh, I'm not talking to a real person. I'm just getting a response from the little drawing on my screen.
Yeah, for sure. And that's is that more weird? I don't know.
Well, I think it definitely emboldens some people to be very weird about it.
Yeah, but I mean, you would think the general audience of this would be weeb or weeb adjacent. So, yeah, I mean that tracks, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. There's a lot that could be said when it comes to live streaming about, if you have just like a pretty face or like a good aesthetic or like a nice body or something, you can get pretty far with that. A lot of people tune into this like completely vapid, like meaningless content, capital C content, because they just want something nice to look at or just like a bit of background noise.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably an element of why VTubers have taken off, because people like anime girls, like almost, I won't say universally, but I think there's a big appeal to it, even outside the like core otaku weeaboo audience.
Yeah, I mean, like we said on the last episode, I think the appeal of the anime art style is that it's generally pretty sparse as far as details, so you can inject your idealized versions of yourself, if it's the protagonist, or your ideal woman, if it's the love interest or whatever, and at the same time, just like we were talking about before, it's not a real person. It's not a real person with like actual flaws or humanity or anything like that. You just get this completely objectified image of a person type thing that you just get to play with and you get to manipulate.
But that's kind of the appeal, right? Because a lot of people don't want to interact with a real person.
Yeah, it's too difficult.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there who just like they're just antisocial weirdos. They don't like relating to other people. They just want to like retire to the, once again we'll say it, to the goon cave to watch these little cartoons bounce up and down, and so that they don't have to connect with other people. I hear this sentiment a lot when you look up online and you see these chuds complaining about like, oh, I liked this media before it went woke. This was my escape from the world. I like to escape into this fiction where I don't have to think about how life sucks. And I think these people are weak. They're weak and they're tiny and they're in like every sense of the word. We love you, small dick listeners, but they're just a really pathetic bunch. And I think the same thing applies to like people who get really obsessed with like a certain content creator, like live streamer or VTuber or otherwise, where they don't have other things going on in their life. They don't want to relate to other people. They don't really want to enjoy the things about life that make you a human. They just want to like retreat into this like weird little fantasy, and like I don't think, like, it's not healthy. And I think a lot of stuff about the industry surrounding VTubers, it kind of encourages that. It kind of profits off of like the big audience of people who are just like that,
No, for sure. And these are the same people who will go on 4chan and fucking bitch about, I can't get a girlfriend, I don't have any friends, I'm a fucking brain cell, like all this weird shit. And it's like, dude, you have put zero effort into doing anything remotely resembling like acting like a real human. And like you sit around and you watch fucking like weird content and shit all day, which like, hey, if you watch weird content and shit, like, but it's part of a broader lifestyle.
You're listening to this show right now, so yeah. I think all our listeners are familiar with weird
content. Exactly. As a curiosity, or just a source of entertainment, it's fine. But like, Like, are you really surprised that you can't have a relationship with your family, or like you don't have any friends, or you can't get a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever? Like, yeah, dude, just like stop using this shit as a substitute for like human interaction. I guess is kind of the takeaway there. I don't know. Am I?
If I was to extract one big lesson from this episode, one running theme that I really want people to walk away with, it's that there's nothing good in life that does not require some effort to get or maintain.
Right.
If you want to get into live streaming or VTubing or making capital C content, or just like, real art or something like that, you don't need equipment, you don't need to spend a lot of money. You need to put effort in. If you want to connect with other people, you need to put effort in. And, it's fine if you like VTubers. I've seen some of the clips. I think Gura's like vacant little like anime girl stare while she vacuums the sand. I think it's kind of funny. I don't think I would watch it for like 7 hours, but I'll watch it for like 2 minutes or like 20 minutes on YouTube. But yeah, that's the big takeaway that I would have.
Yeah, and
with regards to this parasocial this shit.
Yeah, and I think we should be clear on, like, if you watch Twitch streamers or VTubers or whatever, if you like anime or whatever the fuck, like, it's cool. But if this is like, if you are like, I guess tying into the past episode, like, there's a difference between somebody who likes this shit and like a weeb or a weirdo or a fucking otaku or some shit, like, and I talk about Twitch viewers with like a capital T. Just like we're later in a later episode going to talk about gamers with a capital G. There's a difference between people who like a certain thing and people who make it their everything, and they are usually the most fucking annoying, just misanthropic, like insufferable fucking people on the planet. Because, hey, here's a fucking crazy thought. Have like a, kind of a well-rounded life, which with a lot of different things in there, that it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. I can attest to that. Just do different things and enjoy that without being fucking crazy. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's harder. Maybe it's harder than I'm making it out to be.
I would dare to say that a big running theme of this podcast going into the future is that fandom was a mistake. It's not good. It rots people's brains. Be careful with that stuff. Be a fan of things responsibly. Yeah.
Maybe spend like a little bit less time on the internet, and especially like those corners of the internet. Surround yourself with cool people. Try that. Try that to start. Like us, we're cool people. We will guide you. And just like I said,
and as we've established before, if you are listening to the show, you are not just a fan of ours. You're our actual friend.
Yeah.
We actually
That's
love
what I was
you,
gonna say.
Unlike all other podcasters.
Yeah, right. You're still on ground floor level where you could actually be our friend, and we will guide you through life with our zen like correct 100% correct takes on everything. If you wait till episode 20, might not happen, but hey, here's the time.
The door is closing. Get in now on ground zero.
Yeah, it is very slowly closing, but it is closing. And if you don't want your leg to get caught in the in the closing door, jump in.
For sure. I think that seems like a good little introduction to VTubers in general. But I did want to take this convo just before we wrap up. I wanted to have a little conversation about avatars in general. Like, how do we choose to depict ourselves online? Because I think there's a lot to be said about the way people choose to present themselves. Like a lot of people will like get into VTubing because they have a certain image of themselves, or like maybe an idealized form or something. It's like, okay, I want people to see me as the cute anime girl. Or like some people have weirder VTuber avatars, so like maybe I want people to see me as like the animated toaster that plays video games or something like that. And what do you think about that?
See that is an interesting point, because I did come up in the early days of the modern internet where a lot of people didn't really show their face online, and everybody had an avatar, and it was kind of like, most of the time it was kind of just some dumb shit, or a character or something like that,
an edgy anime boy or something like that.
There was a lot of those too, but
like that was the norm in the early internet. Like I remember when I was a kid, all the adults in my life told me like, okay, don't tell anybody your real name online, don't post your picture, you have to lie about everything. And that was the perception of what it meant to be on the internet for a long time.
But even like in the early 2000s, like you didn't have like smartphones with cameras in it, and like every laptop didn't have a camera in it. So like you either had to like buy a webcam or like scan a photo of yourself in. So most people didn't even, like, even if they wanted to, they weren't just like sharing photos of themselves on the internet. So yeah, like people instead picked avatars, and it was in a sense like just a way to kind of express yourself in some certain type of way. And can I remember what my earliest avatars were? Fuck no, dude. I have no idea. It was probably some corny shit.
I actually have a very clear memory of this. My first avatar that I ever used, it might not have been the first, but it's the first one that I remember. I was maybe like 9 or 10 years old on some like tiny little like long defunct by now like internet forum about making games in RPG Maker or some shit.
Oh, nice.
And my avatar was, have you ever seen the picture of Lime Cat? The cat with like a lime on its head as like a little helmet.
I'm looking it up right now. Lime Cat.
Is that what it's called? Lime Cat? Let's look that up in real time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the first thing that pops up. That image is like as old as the internet. And I thought this is the cutest thing ever. So yeah,
that is a class. I've definitely seen this one before. I mean, it is cute.
I've definitely used that as an avatar on internet forums when I was a little kid.
See, and that's so wholesome. Yeah,
even like 20 years later, you're like, you can't hate it. Like that's another thing about the internet is everybody loves cats. You can't go wrong with cats.
Yeah, they're great. It is a little bit Reddit to like be obsessed with cats, but at the same time, fuck it. If that's Reddit, then I'm a little bit Reddit too. Cats fucking rule. Dogs drool. Just kidding. I like dogs too.
Yeah, the heckin' cute doggos.
Yeah. I mean, dogs literally do drool. Although I've had some cats who drool, so that's. I guess.
Yeah, I might be a little bit Reddit, but I'm free. And that's all that matters.
In this moment, I'm euphoric.
Yeah, I think one of the things I picked up on being on the internet from a young age is like you can kind of tell a lot about people from like the avatar they choose to present themselves with online. Like in my internet forum dwelling days, like a lot of people had anime avatars, and a lot of them were like, okay, this is some popular show that was just translated to English. Here's like the edgy main character, and they're brooding, and it's like, oh, this person they want to look tough, they want to look serious, they want people to think, ooh, this person's like a little dark and mysterious and badass or something. And it's like, when I was a kid, I'll be honest, like I fell for that. There were some people who I met on the internet, it's like, ooh, this person's like avatar, like something about it like intimidates me a little bit. But maybe that was just a result of like being a kid, and like everybody at the time was like much older than me.
I think there is like a very subliminal effect that just associating a person online with their avatar has on you, especially if you've never seen them. like in
I mean,
person?
yeah, even to this day, like consciously, I know it's not the case, but unconsciously, like in my head, I just kind of think of my friends like the avatar they use on Discord or some shit. That's just kind of how I imagine
Oh
them,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of cool though. It's kind of cool because like there is an appeal to be just to be able to choose the way that people perceive you. And I for one, well, currently, I'm not going to say this is never the case, but I don't really have any like significant dysphoria on the way that I look, but I know a lot of people do, and I totally like understand that. So it's like it's I can definitely see the appeal of like the freeing nature of being able to represent yourself visually the way that you see yourself or want others to see you, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I feel like that, if anything, that's probably like a foundational part of the internet, right? Like back in the days where to be online you needed to have like a little bit of a tech savvy, and it was like nothing but weirdos and very tech literate people. Contrasted with nowadays where the internet just exists to like steal personal data and every website wants you to upload as many real photos of your real face as possible.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And
I'll even say while we were setting up the YouTube channel for our show, there were some like features of YouTube, like posting like community notes or some other stuff like that, where it's like, oh, you need to verify your channel to do that. One way you can do that is you can upload a photo of your government ID to Google Drive, and we'll verify you in a couple days. Or you can not do that, and we'll get to you in like a couple months. And it's like, both Dave and I were like, fuck that. We're not doing that.
Yeah,
that seems like sketchy as hell.
I can understand that sort of, as far as like not having like 5,000 bot accounts go, but at the same time it's like, is that really why you're doing it, or are you just trying to like collect the most sinister data?
Yeah, there was some note below that. There was like, we usually clear our data of your photo in a couple months, maybe, who knows. And it's like, I don't like your tone here, Google.
Yeah, especially when every other month you're just like, hey, LinkedIn got hacked and leaked like hundreds of thousands of users' data. Sorry.
There has never been a big tech company that has not been the victim of like a big like company-wide data breach or hack at some point.
The thing is,
it's gonna happen to all of them.
The thing is, a lot of them fucking lie about it too, or they don't even release it. I was just the benefactor of a nice, juicy class action lawsuit from Capital One Bank, because my data was apparently involved in a breach, and I got like $600 for that, which is dope. But at the same time,
oh fuck yeah,
hey,
dude, get that back.
Fucking don't do that, maybe. And I'm not sure about this. This could be hearsay. I would not want to besmirch the good name of Capital One Bank. Don't get me wrong. But
no, we love
we
banks
fucking
on this
love
show.
banks here. But I'm pretty sure part of the reason the lawsuit was so hefty is because they tried to cover it up, or they lied about it for a while, or something like that, or they just didn't report it when they were supposed to. But like, anyways, your fucking data is out there, so I kind of understand using an avatar instead of your face. Although my face is all over the fucking internet, so I'm already it's over for me. I'm done.
Yeah, to some degree, I feel like everybody's info is going to get out there in some way, and like to different extents for everybody. But in general, I do think we should probably, like, I would like to see a culture shift on the internet where we go back to like, valuing our anonymity a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. And we would definitely see less low effort thirst trap bullshit, which, listen, I love looking at juicy titties. I love looking at big round brown booties, some nice ankle pics, all that type of stuff. Nice hairdos. Love all of it. Hey, I do. But
to some degree, that's always going to be kind of popular.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, but like
people like to see nice looking faces.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Exactly. But let's dial that back, and but like the thing is, a lot of that content that's just like, look at me, I'm cute. It's just like, fuck off. Be cute and do something cool at the same time. Don't just be cute. Like, fucking grow up.
Exactly. And you know what? If you want to be cute, there are other options too. Like I could say at different points in my life, I've used like a fucking pit crew avatar to just present myself online. Because like at the time, yeah, I was less confident in my drawing skills. I just wanted like a cute girl for people to look at when I'm on Discord or some shit like that. And you know, there's a lot that could be said about like a stereotype about pit crew avatars, but you know, in general, I think the website is nice. I think people should consider it.
As long as it's not a bored ape or a bitmoji, I'm fine with stuff like that.
I mean that's the thing. Like the whole NFT craze, those are basically just evil pit crews.
Exactly, but yeah, but sold for thousands of dollars by just the worst humans you'll ever converse with in your life.
Yeah, we're gonna do an NFT art critique hour at some point, so stay tuned.
Yeah, that'll be a bonus episode.
Yeah, that one. This is a podcast, but I feel like that definitely needs like a bit of a visual.
Oh, sure.
A visual aid, or more like a visual hindrance, because like all of them look like shit.
Yeah, that'll be fun though.
Yeah, there's also something to be said, I think, shifting gears a little bit, but just as awful as the NFTs is some people use like anonymous avatars to present themselves in like a shitty way too. Like we've talked about them a little bit, but there's the whole like culture of like, I'm a traditional warrior. Here's my Roman bust avatar. It's a Greek statue or some shit. And it's like, those people are all fucking losers, you know?
And you know that person looks nothing like that. They're probably like...
They are like some like acne riddled like 13-year-old.
Probably like not even like European looking, just self-loathing minority. Just like, and it's just like, dude, come on, man.
I often think back to that shit post that went around before. It was like some selfie of like a 13-year-old posting to 4chan, and they were like, do my features look very Nordic? Like, come on, dude.
That shit is so weird to me. And like, I mean, obviously this is a common thread with most white supremacists is like, that's really all they kind of have. Just like how we were talking about, like how with some people their only like tether to reality, if you can call it that, is just like their relationship with like anime or whatever the fuck. But like for these people, it's just like I am Nordic. I am Nordic and Aryan. It's just like, dude, you clearly have nothing else going for you. If that's what you're so upset.
I rolled the correct stats when my parents made my character sheet.
And I mean, you could go to any white supremacist like picture, and it's just like the most raggedy looking dudes you'll ever see.
It's like 30 to 50 feral hogs.
Yeah. Exactly. And they're just like, oh, my white heritage is being erased. And it's like, dude, if you're the representative of that, like, maybe it should be. I'm sorry. Like, shit, man. Bye.
Spicy takes on this podcast. We stand firmly against white supremacy. You heard it.
Yeah, we do. Even spicier take. We support the Great Replacement.
Yeah, the replacement of men with beautiful girls.
Yeah, right. That's what I meant. That's 100% what I meant.
Yeah, erect more 5G towers. Subscribe to Super.
Yeah, get vaccinated, everyone. Get vaccinated. COVID's going around. Make sure you get vaxxed.
I've got a fever, and the only cure is more estrogen. Yeah. To bring us back though, a funny thing about the Roman bust, the statue people is like, on its face, like There's nothing. It doesn't really say much. Like if your picture is just like a Roman statue, but I feel like our perception of what that means has been shaped by the people who like gravitate towards that image.
Oh, I mean, 100%.
Like,
yeah, that's the thing is like Roman and Greek statues have been ruined for me for life by these fucking assholes, and it kind of makes me mad.
Yeah, I mean, as I think ancient history is
it's
cool.
So dope.
I think there's a lot of cool stuff about Rome. I like the big statues, both the pearly white ones we see now and their gaudy original like painted versions back when they were ancient, you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing about all these like return to tradition people is of course they think that they in that society they would be like a great general marching on Britain, and it's like, no dude, you would be like shoveling shit in a fucking ditch somewhere. Like, no, you'd probably be a fucking slave. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, we'll look at the other side of things too. Obviously, I don't think they're nearly as bad as all the white supremacists and Nazis and those other bigots. But
well, there is a lot of overlap. Oh wait, unless you're talking about somebody else.
Well, you could say that with maybe some of the fucking like anime girl avatars.
Oh,
It's like, I photoshopped one of the K-On! Girls to have a Nazi armband. Isn't that really funny?
Okay, yeah.
2023.
Okay, so I don't change what I was saying then. I was right. Okay.
Well, no. I was just humoring that. But where I was actually going to take this was there's the flip side of this where I think if we look back at the pit crew avatar people, I think in some circles at least, maybe I'm showing my ass here, there's this stereotypical like Twitter user where it's like, I have a cute little pit crew avatar and like a hammer and sickle in my name, and I'm gonna overthrow the government and lead a glorious revolution, but also like I'm really nervous about making phone calls.
Yeah. I was gonna say the same thing. It's I'm a little small bean, but also we're going to vanguard the glorious People's Democratic Republic. And overthrow the government. It's like, dude, you have not like left your house in 7 years.
I'm an uwu subby puppy girl, but I'm also like fed posting about senators.
Yeah, when the DPRK comes, I'm joining up. And it's like, no, they'll probably just use you as a cheap fuel source.
Yeah, I have a pit crew avatar, and I love to stand for regimes that would have me executed for this like anime witchcraft heresy.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
That's why, at least in my opinion, the one true solution to this is learn how to fucking draw. Just start drawing, bro. Just make your own avatar, and then like nobody can. Well, I guess they can think what they will, but I think there's something earnest to that. I think it says something more. When somebody like puts some craft into how they present themselves online, and there's something real, there's something human there, and it's not just like a screenshot of like an anime frame or something 100%, like that.
Yeah, I totally agree, and you could say this with any creative endeavor, and I've heard all of the excuses before. I don't have any talent, I don't have any time. First of all, talent is a myth. Talent is trying. Just fucking do it. You can do it. You can see things. Like if you can look at something and say, I like that looks good, then you have the aptitude to make something good. You just need the skills. Just do it.
I have been on like internet forums and like internet spaces for creative people since I was a little kid, and you know what, a lot of people, it's very cringy, but they'll start out with their own little original character, do not steal, where it's like, oh, this is like Sonic the Hedgehog, but he's purple now. And you know what, that's fine. That's more of a real human thing than downloading some shitty like Bored Ape or something.
100%. And like we all start somewhere. I'm sure the things that I've made throughout my life, most of them are fucking shit. Most of them are still shit, but once in a while, you make something that's like,
maybe we're making shit right now. Who knows?
Well, maybe we'll look back on this and be like, this fucking sucks. But, like, I don't know. You just keep doing shit, and once in a while, you'll make something good. I promise you. Do not fall victim to buying Bored Apes.
For real. You know, I'm not even gonna go as far as to say like, oh, if you use like a screenshot of an anime character or like a video game character or something you didn't make as your like a profile picture online, that's fine too. I don't think you're a bad person or whatever. There's a lot of people who take those things and they kind of make them their own, right? Yeah. A big thing that I've never gone into, but I know it's really popular, is like VR chat, right? VR chat is fucking huge, and everybody on there is like, some people, they have the money to get their own like custom like furry fursona rig or something, and like that's cool. But a lot of people on VR chat, it's like, oh, I'm a 2 foot tall shitty looking Knuckles the hedgehog or whatever.
That's dope though. That's dope.
Yeah, you know, that's funny as hell.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too, is especially when you're using something ironically or as a meme, it's like it's super funny. And even if you just like something, but like there's a difference between like having a Garfield PFP, because like, you know, Garfield has been a meme for quite a while now, and I fucking love Garfield in that.
Look, I'm pretty sure the creator of Garfield is still alive, but in my heart, Garfield is in the public domain.
Absolutely.
I feel like we all own
I don't think
Garfield.
Jim Davis has drawn a Garfield comic in like 20 years now. I think he just has he has
other people. He has like apprentices that carry on the Garfield.
But
manga.
But there's definitely there's a difference between that and having like a Spike Spiegel PFP, because you're like, yo, he's just like me for real, bro. And it's like, no, he's not. He's
okay,
cool.
Spike is pretty cool,
but
though.
I'm saying Spike is cool. And
True. There's a big difference between Spike Spiegel and people who use his picture online.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the first animes that I ever got into was Trigun, and when I was a kid, there were so many people that had like the main character of that as their profile picture, because he's the cool guy. He's got the spiky hair with the round little glasses that reflect light, and the big red trench coat, and it's like, oh, I'm so badass. And like, one, that's really funny because he's not badass in the show at all. He's like a big goofball,
missing the point,
also,
as most media consumers do.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like that's the thing. VR chat is very funny, because I look at it and like the big comparison with VR chat is you look at that and then you look at something like Second Life, where like the entire thing is built on people like selling like accessories and custom models to other people, and everybody in Second Life looks like a fucking freak, dude. It is weird as hell.
I haven't used that. I've seen some VR chat. I have a very tangential knowledge of Second Life, but I do know that the people who got into that are like fucking freaks.
Yeah, I never got big into Second Life either, other than like laughing at it from the distance. But I play a lot of, well, I don't really play a lot of it now, but I've played Final Fantasy 14 for a long time, and I look at the mod scene in that game, and people will mod their characters to look like the freakiest, like Second Life looking, like big titty, like goth mommy shit, and it's like, it's weird, dude. I don't know. I think, yeah, there's something out there.
Yeah, there's I guess the whole theme we keep coming back to is like, some parts of Avatar life are cool, and some are like really fucking weird, and just like maybe stay in the cool category and like the chill, like maybe a little funny, maybe a little ironic, like maybe don't take it like stay tethered, stay tethered in the universe that we live in, just a little bit at least.
Maybe this is our big life lesson for all the VTubers out there, and for all the regular people who just want a cute little picture to present online, and that advice is be fucking real. Be funny, be interesting, be yourself. Like, even if you choose to take like an existing character or something, like, do something silly with it. Just be a real person. Don't just be a generic like randomly generated anime girl in the crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the funny thing about my Discord PFP and the one that I use for Twitch and other shit is actually the outline of my head is like a vector trace of my actual head, and I was gonna do like a very detailed like all the features on there, and it just kept coming out like uncanny valley weird and shit, and I was just like not really feeling it, and I was like fuck it, and I got rid of all the facial features and just put like an ooh woo eyes and mouth on there, and people fucking loved it. They were like, yo, this is so they're like, this is so funny, I love it, like make this an emote. And it's just like, it's sometimes the lowest effort shit that you just like fuck it, like I'm doing this, will just become like an iconic thing, which I'm sure there's just so much stuff like that out there that was just never meant to be anything, and they were just like, just make this, and just like it might end up being a thing. I dig it too.
Yeah, for real. For one, I think your avatar rules. I think it's very cute. I think it's very funny. And I was just about to wrap up the show, but since you've disclosed some lore, I feel like I should share a bit of lore of my own, which is I present myself on the internet as like a blue-skinned like alien demon sort of girl, and I'm being vague about it, but originally she was like some character that I played in a long-running tabletop game with some friends of mine, most of whom I don't really hang out with anymore, but that's neither here nor there. And at the time I was not very good at drawing, so I made a little picrew version of her, and I just used it as like my avatar online for like a little while. But for some reason, once I switched to it, like random people, like 5 or 6 people over like a few months in some community I was in at the time, kept giving me like compliments about it. They were like, hey, that looks really cute. So now it just kind of stuck with me. And yeah, I've since drawn more detailed, fancy versions myself because I've improved at art. But it's kind of funny because like I wasn't like especially attached to this character or something.
But
like
now
in
you
the
are.
in the many yeah, like in the many years I played this tabletop game with my friends, this was not even like the character I played most. I played this character maybe like for like 5 or 6 sessions or something. It was kind of whatever. But now, that's just how people see me. So I was like, okay, I like this attention. So I guess this is just how I present myself online.
Yeah,
now.
see,
so, that's how it is.
So in that sense, like your avatar can reflect like an actual part of yourself, in the sense of like, yeah, it's not necessarily like some idealized version of myself. It's just like what ended up happening. Just like, how people look in real life. So like, yeah, you can just make a goddamn avatar, motherfuckers. Make a goddamn avatar. That's what we're saying. Make a goddamn avatar.
Yeah, fucking subscribe to Final Fantasy 14 or some other game with a character creator, or get into Pit Crew, or learn to fucking draw. I don't know, or maybe just make Sonic purple or some shit.
There
Who
you
cares?
go. Yeah, just do anything. I was like, maybe stay away from AI, but if that's a launch pad for you, it's fine. Just like just draw that afterwards, or use it as inspiration. Don't just like,
yeah. We'll do a whole episode on AI and where I draw all my lines, no pun intended, ethically and morally and all that. But that's a topic for another day. I think this is a good place to wrap it up for now. What do you think?
We fucking killed it.
Yeah, that was another epic podcast in the bag. I think we're doing really well. I think this one's really going to put us on the map.
Yeah,
Dave.
for sure. We got this. As long as you like and subscribe, smash that like button. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your slutty sister, and especially
I think all the slutty sisters already know about this show.
Hey.
Heyo. Hey, yeah, we'll leave it there. Stay tuned. See you later. Bye.
Bye.